we told you about the attacks on DEI, on diversity, equity, and inclusion, anything dealing with race. DeSantis in Florida, Abbott in Texas. Now you got this nut house superintendent in Oklahoma, Ryan Walters. He actually is questioning if students should attend Oklahoma colleges because of the ideologies they might encounter on campus. Listen to this nonsense.
We have, and I appreciate the board's due diligence on this. We did make some slight changes. We took out any kind of woke language here. Our emphasis is to equip students to be ready for the workforce, not be social justice warriors. So this is an agency where woke will go to die. We are going to focus on standards. We're going to make sure that our students are workforce ready, because there's nothing more you can do for a child to give them critical thinking skills and give them the ability to be successful in the workforce.
Not be social justice warriors. He made his comments, folks, after requesting an accounting of all money being spent in Oklahoma colleges on diversity initiatives. The Oklahoma Regents for Higher Education found the state colleges had budgeted $10.2 million for diversity, equity, and inclusion activities in the current fiscal year. The state contributed $3.7 million of that money. Oklahoma lawmakers will address at least 5 bills this session to limit diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in education. The measure aims to limit political testing, amend parental rights, and report spending in education progress. Joining us now, Oklahoma State Representative Monroe Nichols. Representative Nichols, glad to have you on the show. I mean, I just keep trying to explain to people. There's a reason I wrote my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. That's all this is. They are trying to attack DEI everywhere because they don't like the fact that people of color are gaining power. This is about trying to control people of color.
Thank you for allowing me to be on. You're 100% right. Not only is it about the controlling of people of color, what we know is so many people throughout our history have built political power by using race and dog whistle politics. That's exactly what Ryan Walters has done. You mentioned the amount of money that's being spent on these DEI programs in Oklahoma. When he requested this audit of these programs, I think over the last decade, we found that we spent 0.1% of the higher ed budget on these programs. So to say that these are the problem in Oklahoma is absolutely ridiculous. But to your point earlier, you're seeing it in Florida, seeing it in Texas, obviously seeing it here. It's disgusting. But it also is, it's something that we know we cannot take any time and rest and those types of things, because it's important. The things that he was talking about, they got out of the standards. He said all the woke language. It was diversity, culture, and equity. Those are the things that he wants to get out of a state that is home to 39 federally recognized tribes, a state where we saw the largest individual race massacre in this country's history. That is the state he wants to remove diversity, culture, and equity out of the state standards for education.
Yeah, I mean, this is simply a direct assault on black and brown people, and this is about white domination and not wanting to teach people the reality of race in America.
That's right. That's right. I pulled some numbers from Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I live, and in my community, black folks in this city are 2 times less likely to be employed. Poor students are 5 times less likely to read on grade level by 3rd grade. The eviction rate is 40% higher in non-white neighborhoods, and Hispanic Tulsans are 3 times less likely to get a high-wage job. And so what we know is true is that this assault that we know is that there are reasons why, right? We know we have a fundamentally flawed system. Instead of thinking about ways we can fix it, what the direction we're going in now is to say, we not only not want to talk about it in schools and accurately talk about history, but we want to also say that it's the fault of the folks who have pushed for advances for people of color that are the problem. Claire Looper, who did sit-ins before they happened in the Carolinas, is the problem. Ada Lewis Supia Fisher, who challenged separate equal at the University of Oklahoma before Brown versus Board of Education, is the problem. They're saying that these folks who continue to fight for justice are the problem, for equity is the problem. And Roland, you're exactly right. we have to start calling what it is. I think for a long time we tried to say, oh, we shouldn't call folks racist, or we shouldn't use emotionally charged language. We are past that point now, and it's to the detriment of black and brown kids. It's to the detriment of black and brown families, and now it's to the detriment of the policymaking environment at the state of Oklahoma and states all across the country.
Well, I keep telling folks, this is going to continue, but isn't there another issue where this guy Ryan Walters is such a nutcase that he made some changes and that it's actually going to jeopardize potential funding and accreditation to the school districts, and so aren't state lawmakers trying to limit this guy's power?
That's right. I tell you what, right? The one good thing, Roland, that I'll tell you about Oklahoma is there is bipartisan agreement that this man is not capable of leading the state's education system. And so we're a state like a lot of southern states with a supermajority on the Republican side, but he's so far off that I have my Republican colleagues that are right now working to limit his power as state superintendent because and Roland, just to give you a little context, he's been state superintendent for about a month. And it's already gotten this bad.
Right.
This is a man who wants to send federal funds back because he doesn't want to, he woke ideology in federal funds, and he wants to send state money to private schools and that type of stuff. This is a person who, at the end of the day, Roland, he's just not that smart is what it is. And what we see all the time is folks who are not smart, who don't have a plan to move things forward. What do? They do exactly what he's doing. And like I said, there's bipartisan agreement that he's not the person to lead the state's education system.
And this is what happens when these right-wing MAGA people elect these nutcases and they're in power.
But all you got to do is win a primary. This is what happens. And so we now have a state that the entire education system for 700,000 Oklahoma kids is run by somebody who represents probably about 25, 30% of the population. And that's a dangerous, dangerous thing. He ran a campaign talking about this kind of stuff. Folks didn't listen. We got to stop thinking that people are going to moderate themselves when they get elected, because what we've learned over and over again is that they don't. They do not moderate themselves after they get elected. So the next time that somebody tells you that they're going to dismantle public education, then you might just believe them and make another decision at the ballot box. But again, Roland, what else is happening across the country? What are they trying to make it harder to do for people who look like us? Vote. So, this is not, we should not just look at this as a vacuum. This is all this coming together. We want to retell how history is taught. We want to limit your voting power at the ballot box. And we want to dismantle the public system of education where our kids, our families are overrepresented in that system, and they're siphoning money from it as we speak.
All right, Representative Nichols, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Kelly, I've been warning people. Since 2009, I've been talking about this notion of white fear. And folks are like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, it's playing out. We're seeing it. It's like over and over and over again. And I love these people who go like, oh, you're a race baiter. What the hell? All you're seeing, they despise DEI like they despise multiculturalism, like they despise affirmative action, like they despise quota. It doesn't matter. They do not want to confront America's reality when it comes to race.
They don't want to confront the reality that they are becoming the minority. I think that is really the core issue here. They don't want to feel the repercussions of what they've been dishing out for centuries, now that the tides are turning as far as demographics are concerned in this country. It is unfortunate, but they're just going to have to buck up and deal with it because it is happening. Brown and Black people, people of color, indigenous people, BIPOC, whatever you want to call this conglomerate of minorities, we are outnumbering white people who want to continuously invest in white supremacy. That is threatening to their livelihoods. Too bad, but it's happening anyway. And like you said, you're going to see stuff like this until they come to the realization, which seems like never, that we are, I don't want to say taking over because it gives the wrong context, but we are becoming more prevalent in this country, and DEI is going to be a thing in this country so that we can all succeed. There's room on the mountaintop for everybody, not just racists.
Michael?
Yeah, Roland, this is the fear of the browning of America. And the reason why you have people like Ryan Walters and others who keep talking about attacking wokeness is because they want us to stay asleep. OK, they're telling us what it is. They want us to stay asleep so they can keep manipulating us. And this is understanding what racism is. Racism is a system of advantage and privilege distributed based upon race. And it's interesting that this would take place in Oklahoma, where the Tulsa race massacre happened. The worst race massacre in the history of this country, pretty much, the Tulsa race massacre. And this is taking place in Oklahoma. So, we have to watch. This is, once again, at the state level. Understanding how important the state legislature is. It's not just federal government, it's the state legislature that's so important. And state legislature and state government.
Matt?
Well, yeah, my name is Ryan Walters, and I'm going to run for office down the road, so I'm going to say stupid things now. Look, that's why these 3 Republicans came out and said, yeah, we got to pump the brakes on that. We want people to go to college because a college degree has been shown demonstrably to help people down the road. He was loud and wrong and clearly didn't read the room on what even his fellow Republicans would think is necessary. And what's especially stupid about that is that a lot of corporations are adopting DEI right now for the very purpose of trying to, at least theoretically, make their corporations better places for people to work. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yep,
So,
I got you.
To say that
You finish your point.
to say that there's somehow no nexus between these programs in college and what would actually happen in the workforce is obviously not true when we see corporations adopting these very policies.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.